says eventually the mountains will be brought low and the valleys will be brought up, and we'll walk in a straight way. So what that means is that our lives are often, you see it even in the psalmist David. There'll be 1 minute he's on the mountaintop and God's just the best thing since sliced bread. He's in the valley and he's going, God, my enemies are overtaking me and I'm just a mess, like, where are you, God? And many humans, I talked about that last night, and I touched on why sexual sin is such a disdain to God. Because when we don't understand marriage, you've got marriage, you've got the sacrifice of the church being married to Christ through his sacrifice. When you enter into premarital sex, when you enter into out of marriage relationships, you're doing it for your own pleasure. It says down the bottom here, I want the benefits of oneness without the cost of covenant. I want the treats, I want the pleasure, but I'm not involved in covenant. I can go whenever I flame and want. A lot of the de facto relationships are based because it's not that they don't love each other, it's not that the kids aren't legitimate to God, it's just that they're not committed, and they don't want to be committed because they want to feel like they can leave when the tough gets going. We've found even today in covenant of the law of the land that it still doesn't hold water, because covenants aren't understood in this country. You don't understand virginity. We don't understand what it means to break the hymen and shed the blood so that there's now a blood covenant. We don't understand why the blood is so important to Jesus Christ and to God, and why he puts such trust in the blood of Jesus Christ. And so that sacrifice of God. So Christ is the head. He gives himself to the church, just like the husband must sacrifice himself to give himself and love his wife like Christ loved the church. And it releases the glory of God over your marriage, over your relationship, over your children, over your finances. And all of a sudden, and it doesn't happen overnight, but when you practice this truth, it'll start to set you free. And so headship without sacrifice is tyranny. Submission without love is oppression. But sacrifice plus trust. Now, when Karen eventually just realized that the war inside her was not a war against me, that the hurts and the abuses that made her angry with me was not because she was really angry with me. She was angry because she was angry, and because I trying to work this thing out of humanly, I couldn't love her the way that she needed to be loved because it was so personal. It hurt me too deeply. I could handle a lot of stuff, but the one I loved, if it was an enemy or a foe, I could have stood it, but it was my wife. It was my husband. It's not the people that are your enemies that hurt you, it's the ones that you love that hurt you. The ones that should love you, the ones that should have not hurt you, that so deeply wounds you. And so I found I had to draw on what I was preaching, and I had to love my wife with the love that I was being loved with from God. Not my love, not Dougie's love, not my human love, not my phileo love, but the agape that I didn't understand yet. But God so loved me, and he forgave me of everything, and he didn't hold anything against me, and he said, "You're forgiven, Douglas." And so with the forgiveness and with the love that I myself had been forgiven with and loved with, and I was novice at this, I'm still not a real experienced person at it, but I'm a lot better at it than I was. But in my inexperience, I was so broken that I had to draw on God, because I knew that God had showed me she was my wife, that she was going to be the mother of my children, and I knew God had spoken to her, and I had a word, and I had to believe that word above the circumstances and the feelings and the emotions. And I wasn't good at it, but God was. And I came close to giving up. I came close to failing. But God says He will not give you a temptation beyond that which you can stand. And with every temptation, He provides a way of escape. But the way of escape isn't escaping. It isn't drugs. It isn't alcohol. It isn't another person. It's actually God is the way of escape. He's the answer. He's the way. He's the truth. He's the life. There is no way to the Father's answer except through Him. So Christ became more real to me, and my wife helped me understand that I needed God to love through me. I needed God to forgive through me. I needed God to accept her when it didn't feel acceptable. Most marriages fail around 12 months to 18 months because all hell breaks loose, two different families, two different backgrounds. And God says, I want to make you one. Yeah, crikey, that's not easy. We're really different. We just did a profile that Chad got us to do, and I filled mine out, Karen filled her out, and Karen held them up and said, look at this, they're completely opposite. In the natural, completely opposite. But in the spirit, we're one. And somehow that overflows into the flesh. And all of a sudden now we want the same couch, and we want the same house, we want the same ministry, we want the same church. We want the same horses. We want the same cows. We want to paint the house the same colour. Crikey, what's happened? He's making us one. We like the same dog. And for some reason, Bluey loves her more than me.